Hello guys, back again for another vlog. The last couple of days here, it's been insanely hot. It's been really humid and really hot. So I work outside mainly for my job. And they've been like, just do this and this and do what you do and get done. Don't stay out there any longer than you have to. And even though I got done earlier yesterday, because there was a massive heat warning yesterday. Heat index was well over 100. And when I got home, I literally fell asleep 3 times for an hour at a time. I was just completely wiped. Dehydrated stuff in the drunk liquids because it was so insanely hot and humid outside. But today it wasn't. It was still hot, but it wasn't as unbearably hot as yesterday. Though it didn't rain like it was supposed to, which probably was a good thing because if it had rained and stopped, of course it gets even. That would just make it even more hotter outside. But outside of that, enough about that. So I saw that it was announced today that Amazon bought Twitch, and it's funny how reactions to two big companies buying the same business is totally different. So Google would have bought Twitch and they would have been the devil incarnated. Amazon buys Twitch, they're the savior. Now that's to be seen whether they are or not. I know Amazon said they're not going to change Twitch, and to me it makes no sense to change a company after you buy it because you bought them for what got them successful, and then when you change them, you're changing why they were successful in the first place. But either way, the music copyright was coming, whether people want to believe that or not. When a big company buys another company with very deep pockets and a lot of money, other companies with attorneys who want part of that money because they feel like they're valuing their product are going to come knocking. And that's exactly why the music copyright had to happen no matter what. It's already been in EULA for Twitch for a while. It was always wondered when they were going to start cracking down on it, so there you go. How that actually turns in long term, good or bad, we'll see. But I think Amazon was the better bet to keep it the way it was. Obviously, I heard Google was going to have severe antitrust issues with the United States and Europe with this. Because, they already have the cell phones, they already have, the browser, they already have the search engine, they already have YouTube. There'd be a lot of antitrust issues, and I think what I heard was that they wanted to kind of, if they couldn't break up part of Twitch or break up something, then, they were having issues, just figuring out a way to make it to work, and ultimately Amazon got it bought. But Twitch still got their billion, right? The people who made Twitch got their almost $1 billion, so there you go. When Justin TV went away, I knew somebody was about to buy them because normally when especially a big company buys another company, they make people sign an anti-competitive contract for a certain amount of time. It would have made no sense to give those people $900 and some million and then allow them to keep a competing product that they could put that money into. It make no sense. So obviously that's probably what happened when it's non-competitive for a certain amount of time. It's not going to be forever. So we'll just have to see what happens with Twitch. Whether Amazon's going to set up just a live stream or are they going to make it a comparator to YouTube. I hope they don't make it a comparator to YouTube. I hope they just leave it the way it is and just let it naturally grow. Because long term, maybe it could get, certain extents of it could get bigger than YouTube. The experiences are kind of different in the fact that Twitch is a instant, well not instant, but an interactive experience as a user. It's not instant because there is a lag with the comments showing up on the screen to the commentators, but you can get feedback from the commentators. The commentators read the comments, so you are interacting together more than YouTube, which there's very limited interaction compared to Twitch. Anyway, let's get into talking about video games around here. So, my wife came across the Craigslist about, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 RPGs. And I went down to look at our RPGs and which ones we didn't have. And we have most of the PlayStation 1 RPGs we used to have. Like both Lunar games, both Alundra games. Though I never had Ark the Lad the Collection, I still need to get that yet for the PlayStation 1. But we have like Legend of Dragoon. But I noticed we were talking about it, and we have a glaring, well, two glaring omissions, but one I already knew. But I already knew we don't have the original Wild Arms, which she originally bought me, and then later she ended up being the one playing it and beating it, ironically. And then the other one we don't have is Legend of Legaria. Legaria, I'm probably saying it wrong. We used to call it Legaria. Totally wrong, totally pronounced wrong, but that's the way we say it. I didn't even realize there was a Legaria 2 on the PlayStation 2, which I have to get someday, but that is a glaring omission in our collection. But you know, when we had a little disagreement on how many Wild Arm games we have, like we both know we didn't have one, but she thought we had 5, and I thought we had 3. Or no, she knew, I didn't think we had 3, and she thought we had 5. Well, I knew we had 4 because I actually bought this, made by Xseed, it was around the time that the Mario collection on the Wii came out. Well, this is at a GameStop. They had 5 at the time, but I couldn't afford to get both. Anyway, we had 4. And she was right. We had 3, but we only had the disc in the case. And the reason I thought I got rid of that one, I think I originally had it in the case, the real original case, different copy, and I got rid of it because I didn't like the Western aesthetic of it. But now looking back at Wild Arms, I guess it does make sense. But we did have it. We have 2, 3, and 4 Wild Arms games. We don't have one. We don't have Wild Arms 1 remained on the PlayStation 2 as well as Wild Arms. Is it Altered Code F, which actually graphical update to the original game. And then I don't have the PSP Wild Arm game yet, so I had to track those down. But I was listening to, switching gears, I was listening to the podcast Retronauts, which is on its 4th iteration, I believe. The hosts have slightly changed over the years, like Bob Mackey and Jeremy Parrish have been apart for a long time now. I mean, Jeremy Parrish was a part of it when it originally started. Originally started on 1UP, and then it's moved around over time. And now it's part of USgamer.net. And they did a Kickstarter, and that's how it's going now. Where the Kickstarter was, if you donate so much money, people can pick the topic of that podcast and be on the podcast. Even even suggest a guest host if they want. So, but I was listening to their April one of listener mail, and about halfway through the podcast, they brought up a game I did not realize existed on the PlayStation 1. It's called Herc's Adventure. Now, Herc's Adventure is the same style as Zombie Ate My Neighbors, because it was made by the guys who made Zombie Ate My Neighbors. And this game, Herc's Adventure, was released by LucasArts. Zombie Ate My Neighbors did have a sequel, but it wasn't made by the people who originally made it. And so I was looking at it, and it's not a cheap game. It's actually, I hate to use the word rare, but it's not easy to find anymore. Okay, it's not one of those games that maybe people didn't know existed, but it's not incredibly easy to find, and it's not a cheap game. Which again, when I think PlayStation 1, most of them are not incredibly expensive, but in this case, this one's not a cheap game. You might find it for $60. More likely, you'll find it for $100. It's not a cheap game for PlayStation 1. Normally, those prices are for RPGs on the PlayStation 1. Those are the ones that hold their value. And talking about RPGs, in older games, I think, when me and my wife were talking about this, the RPG and the Craigslist, me and her have a different perception of what I think is expensive. Because she's like, oh, this RPG is $40. And to me, that's not a cheap game. But then again, it's not full price either. So eventually, I do want to play Herc's Adventure sometime. I'll have to track it down later on when I have the money to buy a game at a decent. I'm not gonna a decent price, not incredibly full price, but it looks like a cool game I like to play. At the same time, if I want and I had the money and it was full price, I probably still get it. Because my opinion is, if I want a game and I like it, and I had the money to get it, as long as it's in great condition. If I'm going to pay full price, I want the game in as perfect condition as possible for that full price. I'm not going to pay full price for a game and then I'll be scratched up and stuff like that. But today was kind of cool talking about bringing up Retronauts, because USgamer.net, Kat's one of the people who sometimes on Retronauts, she was going to today on Twitch, on their Twitch channel, try to beat Super Mario Bros. 3 in an hour using, of course, warp whistles. And I was sitting there watching it. My son sat down and watched it, and he literally watched it for an hour. He was so enthralled to watch it. Now, she was playing the Wii U Virtual Console release of it. So, Super Mario Bros. 3 on the Virtual Console, they actually updated the background of Super Mario Bros. 3. So Mario still looks the same. Most of the enemies, they all look the same, but the background has mainly had a graphical upgrade, so the backgrounds look more modern. So it does look a lot cooler. Some of the enemies are a little bit different, but overall, you know, a slight upgrade to the game, which makes it fit in the way it looked with the graphical upgrade actually. So, which is kind of cool for me to sit down and watch a retro game like that. So, watch that. So I've been cutting back on Skype with like friends and stuff. I actually spent a lot more time on there than I probably should have, and trying to do more like getting stuff ready for like my video game life, my arcade life, like looking up stuff in video games. Like for example, something I didn't know was that F-Zero, you know, the original F-Zero, we all know when that came out and stuff, that in Japan there was a satellite company who wanted to do the subscription service, and they made a deal with Nintendo where you subscribe and you could play, you know, video games on the satellite. Well, in Japan, they had 2 F-Zero games after original F-Zero come out over there, exclusive to that satellite, that were never released anywhere else. And when they went away, that service went away, those games went away. That they've never been released over here in any way, shape, or form. Which is like, those kind of cool things are cool to me to look up. So I've been doing a lot of research for that. And, you know, I know what kind of intro I'm going to have. It's not going to be, I mean, I could have a couple weeks, when I start putting them out, I could have a couple weeks of it out, or who knows how long before I actually get the intro done. More the visual stuff of it, because I know what kind of style I want to do. If you've ever seen Shifster's, like the Easter Egg Hunter, his intro for that, the talking, like the way he does the talking part, that's kind of like how I want to do the intro for that. But the visuals will be totally kind of different. And so in doing research for that kind of stuff, I still need to put a banner on this channel, for crying out loud. So I need to get on my butt on that too. And more importantly, play and beat some of the games I haven't beaten, because I really need to get to beating a lot of games that I really want to play through. So, and Mario Kart 8's been, of course, Mario Kart 8 is still a big thing in this house, and of course the DLC coming tomorrow. Definitely have to download that and try it out. So, that's really all that's been going on here, guys. So, like always, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later for another vlog.